Okay, so we'll have a look at the next one that we have. This one is moving forward. So we're going to actually just animate the creature moving forward. We don't really know, how fast it's going to move, but we need some kind of forward momentum, and we can use this main controller here down at the bottom, exactly the same as what you have in whichever one you've chosen for the module. So if I just move it without any kind of parenting, when I move this whole controller forward, everything else moves forward with it. But we want the feet to stay still, really. We animate the character moving forward with the feet being attached to the floor. So going back to this, everything traveling at the same speed again. So we need an initial starting point. Anything, frame 0. So if we just set a movement key on there. A little bit different with this, that if we go to frame 24, we'll set to 24 FPS. We can now type in something, or a relative value that we actually want to use for our speed. Now, I don't know how fast this is. I don't really know how big the creature is. But let's just say we want it to move 300 centimeters. So if that's currently minus 90, blah, 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 want it to move forward 300 frames, that's probably a bit too much looking at the size of it there. So if it was somewhere around there, we want that to be a walk in a second. We're looking more on that kind of. So usually what we'd have is certain speed. So again, let's have a look at a little bit of maths. So if that value was minus 97.428 minus 97.428, and we will add 200 there. So we should end up with 102.572. Obviously, it would be a lot easier if it started at 0, then we just basically make it. But that is 200 centimeters forward. So essentially, that is us. We're going to be running at. So let's type that in. Hit enter. And there is 2 meters on our. Just need to have a look at the graph, because obviously the graph is going to have the ease in and ease out that it generates. Just select that. Go through the linear stuff again. And we'll turn on linear. Back to. So we have 2 meters over 1 second. If we were to extend this, or it is, if we just move forward now, there's our 2 meters, and it keeps moving forward. So we've got this lower path now running at 2 meters a second. You've kind of got to decide now, or perhaps how quick this character is going to be able to move. This requires a little bit of messing around to get it right, but in general, it's something you have to go through. So we know that's now a linear speed. We went into Unreal and typed in 200. We know the character will be moving at 2 meters a second. So first thing we need to do is just assign these feet to the ground. We select all 4 and select the ground last. P on the keyboard is probably the quickest way to do it. Parent. And as the character moves forward, obviously the legs try and stay with the. Oh, what's that? Peeking out a little bit there, isn't he? Looking a bit wobbly. So he's a bit nuts. Forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards. Might be because. Oop, let's. Long. graph editor. So yeah, that currently has some keys on it. You can see here that it's moving, jumping up and moving and jumping up. So yeah, something definitely wrong there. Just get rid of them. Basically, any keys on it. Wherever it needs. Hopefully that should. That is hopefully all clear. All the feet are doing now is just trying to hold their original position. So a similar kind of thing. We want this foot to move forward. This one to move. So we're going to assume that this is the last frame where these legs are going to be on the ground. At this point, they're both going to lift up. So we select both of these. Do Shift W just to set a key position. And lift it up. What we've got to try and think about is these legs are now moving backwards. How many frames forward can we realistically till the front? Left? Yeah, right. Round. Either that the rear right has all round. So amount of space that can move pretty small. There isn't a lot of leverage there before that. Before this leg runs out of space. So it's not going to move that far. It's going to be a pretty animate that forward to maybe another frame, but we'll leave it at frame 10. We'll say, right, that's as far forward as the animal can move, or we have to. But that in mind, let's just move these legs forward. Where they are, we can just start to see this one a bit too tight now. Or to that point. Wouldn't want to push that anymore. Right, quite low down there. Back up, that low down here. Okay, so taking us 10 frames from there. This can forward. Add this forward motion. Now it just is still for 10 frames. Got walk here happening 20 frames. A key for the front right and for the back left. So we can see it's a little bit different this time to what we had previously, because we don't have this up and down, forward and back motion. All we're doing is just keying the foot in a static position, because the body's moving forward. The leg itself is staying still, essentially. It's locked to the ground. So it is staying still. It's not moving at all. The body that's moving, which is why we've got this horizontal line of nothing. And we need to do the same with back leg. Or if we try the back right, just add some keys. Them forward 10 frames. That's another set of keys. So for these, they're staying still for the 10 frames, the first 10 frames, and the second set of 10 frames where we want the lift. Push them back to where they were. The first. Now the issue we've got here is that we don't know where the start and end because they're now in different positions. So I'll just assign the camera how far out we are. Is oh, bit round 90 degrees. Assign that object, so platform view. Back to camera. So we're just looking at frames 1 to 20. To 20. So looking at it now, you can see that we're not quite lining up. All 4 legs are out of place. Even though the camera right place with the rest of the body, the legs aren't. So what do we need to do here? Again, it just takes a little bit of thinking to get this working. And we want to use some locators. And we can use the locators to sort out the feet. So when we have the feet planted on the ground, we know they're planting in exactly the right place so that in 10 frames time, they will be back to the same relative position as to where they were on frame 1. So we need to know where forward foot is going to land. So in 10 frames time, it goes back again, it's going to be in the same position. It's not out that far, but again, we're going to get some slipping if we don't sort this out. So here we go for sorting that out. You locate it. So what we need to do is add some locators. Pull this down a bit. Active view. So just add a couple of locators. At the bottom, just make them a little bit bigger so they're visible. And what we're going to do is just link these up to controller. I've turned on the pivot points again, like I did in the first video, just by clicking on it. Up to display, transform, and local rotate. So done that on all 4 feet. And what we're going to do is line these up to those points. So W, hold down V. Hopefully we can snap that to the correct location. Is do the same with this. Quick. So they're now positioned in the right place for the end of the video. But if you do that, obviously they stay there. So we've got nothing to line it up to. Move the character. What you want to do is select both of these and apply them to the main root control. So that's P, parent them. And as they move forward now, they move forward with... we know the controller is moving at a steady rate. We know when we reach frame 20 that these feet should be in the right... out. I've made a mistake. So let's add some locators. Start and end frame, a little bit different. Need to get them sorted. Turn that off. Need to add locators. Grab a couple. Scale them up so they're a bit more visible. And I've also just turned on the local rotation axes. Same as what I did from the last video. Just select the actual, the wire, the controller, up to display, transform, local rotation axis. And we want to line these up to axes. Along roughly. And hold down V to snap them into place. There's that one. So there you are on frame 0. The locators in the same place as the controller. If we move the video forward, the animation forward now, sorry, then the locators don't go. We want to know where the feet should be at the end of their cycle. Don't at the moment. But nice and easy. We just select locators, then select the main root controller. Just hit P to parent. We now have the controllers moving with the main locator. So we know that after 20 frames, where the feet should be. Yeah. So now we pick the feet. Instead of lining the locator to the feet, we now align the feet to the locator. So hold down V, snap it to there. Same for this foot. Hold down V and snap it there. Oh, I've got auto key turned on, so it's at the key. If I just go back to camera view, or first frame, last frame, last frame, you can see those feet in the right position. But that's not the whole truth. There's didn't actually align the foot landing for the right foot here. So it is actually landing in the wrong place. Is now traveling, I think, a bit faster than the other foot because we didn't do the landing spot correctly. So better look at what's happened. Just turn the graph editor on for this foot. See that this is no longer a flat line, so it's landing a bit further past that line, traveling a bit quicker. What it should be, this should just be a flat line, but it's actually moving backwards a little bit quicker. That's what again, but easily solved. We take the one that we know is right, one here. We know that's in the right place. We just copy it where it should be. We go there, copy that frame. We're on the correct frame. Just do edit, paste, and that now lines up. We know now, as this foot moves backwards, it's always going to stop right place. But not only that, it's also landed in the right place. So with this, now a horizontal line, we know it's now moving at the bit easier for this leg because it's actually just planting pointing that way. So these have actually, right, we've still got this flat section. That's the part where it's going backwards. And we've got the lift here. And the last frame is plant. For us, that's absolutely fine because that's where we want this actual to comes in and plants a little bit further forward there. More to do. The way the floor is moving in comparison to how fast the leg is moving. So we're not really going to tell that works or that's happening because the next thing I'm going to do is add the same as what we've done in the last video. Back on, select at frame 5 off the ground. Our bump. That was probably better to do. Yes. Back to run the animation. Up, lands. That one easier, but they're okay. Quad fry. Let's just think. Hit S. Place. Put up. Go bump again. Got leg lifted and hopefully go back to camera view. Could be frame 20 and frame 1. Now exactly the same. Play. There's our loop happening there, and the legs line perfectly. And we now know this character is running at 2 meters a second. It's not moving for exactly a second. It's 20 frames to do it. We're to extend this out. Be a 2 meter. For these 2 legs, obviously, need to sort out the other 2 as well. So I'll just quickly go through them and speed the video up again. So you can see here that there's a bit of an issue with this foot. Even though it's covering the 10 frames, staying still, so the loop itself work. One in frame same. We do now have loop working for the legs. We do have an issue stretching. Covering the right distance. See there, that's probably too. I mean, we can counteract this by what we've done the last time, by slightly over, by extending. Yeah, so really what it would be, probably more along the length kind of angle instead. Do that as a rule. That's not such a problem now, because if that was too far, one of the things you could possibly do is we've probably got a bit of leeway here at the back. Probably pull this foot leg a bit further back without it starting to go too far and leave the surface. So instead of overstretching it at this, what actually might be nice, bring the whole animation back down a bit. Value. So easy way to do that would be to select everything, hold down shift, so we are just dragging in one direction, bring this, bring the whole animation down a certain point. It's not stretching as much there. Back animation not stretching back, which probably got a bit more room there perhaps. So we've kept the same motion. We've just moved the whole cycle of the leg backwards. It should still look absolutely fine from the camera. So we've made no difference to the actual, we haven't broken the loop. The animation like a bit back. Now that you've moved it further back, getting that. So that was a very easy way of being able to do the walking through this. I'm not going to go ahead and animate off. I've done it in the first one, but you now get the idea of how you can use these locators to track where your legs need to be on the first frame and the last frame of the cycle. What you need to do is decide how much of a stretch your character can make, and also what the maximum walking speed. So that's with that one. What I'm going to do next is just show you the method of keeping the character still and moving the floor towards the character. So that's the end of that section. Now go and do the keep the character ready. Go backwards. Character. So let's get rid of this forward motion. Put it to the path instead. Need to find out how far this is traveling. I think I made a mistake with the maths before, but let's sort that out. 24 frames. If we have a look here, this current value is 90 minus 90. Minus 90.668. And our other value is 102.57. Copy that. Okay. Minus 90 point plus 102.57. Get that. How far we've moved, we've really got to add the two together. So 193.24. So that's how far we've moved. Obviously made a miscalculation in the first bit, but this is the value we're looking for to punch into the floor. That's how far we're moving backward. Keep that in mind. Let's get rid of the movement on the floor now. Obviously the feet are still moving because they're expecting the body to be moving forward and they're not. The ground to move backwards instead. So on this frame, we've got a key. We need to remove the value that we've just had from this value. What's that? 237.02. 237.426. Take away the value that we created here. We end up with is 43. Copy that. Paste this value here. Should get the distance we've traveled in a second, but using the floor now as the set this back to linear. Great. And also 20. That's what we on. Hopefully now, if we look at this, art are now moving nowhere. Now got the animation staying still. See, it actually or loop now work. Exactly the same animation exists. What? Side view. That the animation. Absolutely fine again. So that's the way I said you can go from doing a forward animation, finish with a forward animation. As long as this linear will be in the game, convert forward and static animation. Just one more look for you after this. I'm going to just show you one way to make this character run. So at the moment, we've just done steps. We've static step, moving step, step with or underneath, but they've always just steps. How do you do this? Actually, have the character traveling at quicker speed. Work it out. I'm just going to quick way of that again. Just using these low. Very similar thing. Just means that your leg more time in the air or on the ground. Yeah, it's pretty much 50-50. Look at the animation. The leg is on the ground for 10 frames, off the ground for 10. On the ground. What if you want to change it and you only want your leg on the ground for 2 frames? The rest of it. But we'll do that next. Okay, thanks.